Card Nation, what's going on, everyone? Welcome in to another week's episode of Mondays with Dalton, Pence here on the Big X Sports Radio, brought to you by the Collier Law Firm. Dalton, Pence in studio with my guys Roman Kelly and Matt Childress, taking you out till 7 o'clock tonight. Final episode of 2025, and that was just kind of hard to grasp as I was driving to the studio. It's literally like the 1-year anniversary of the show. The show's been on air for 1 year.
Year flew by.
It really did fly by. Of course, it's been a little bit of time since we've been back in studio. Last week was the Indiana coverage, so we didn't have the show. The week before that, I was remote. Rome was hosting for about 30 minutes or so, but we got a full slate for you today. 502-414-1450, the Gameday Men's Health text line. We'll talk about Jeff Brom seemingly staying after Michigan has made their hire. We'll talk about some portal quarterbacks. What are the top needs this offseason for the Louisville football team? And hold on, guys. This is not a drill. Basketball back in action after 3.5 months off. They'll play tomorrow night against California. That's a pretty interesting California team. Got a text already in. Somebody's got to stop this, man. Hey, cutie patootie Dalton. What have you heard about Jeff Brom to Utah? Matt, you want to chime in on this? And I know who the texter is, by the way. I'm saying we have to stop this man, not stop this comma man. We have to stop this particular man. We can't keep letting him get away with this.
I saw the Utah football truck pull up into my personal neighborhood yesterday. Now, I live nowhere near Jeff Brom, so that could have been anything. Maybe he was just having a detour coming to stop.
You mean the Utah AD flew into Louisville football ops?
Yes. We are in contact with the moving company as we speak. Not looking good. His 2004 Toyota Corolla, whatever he drives, just got loaded up last week.
Toyota Corolla? Who?
Jeff Brom.
Honda Civic.
The Honda Civic. Wrong brand.
Forgot what I said or whatever it was.
I was trying
for
the punchline to just completely whiffed.
Sorry, man. Happens.
Complete whiff like Michigan. Never mind. Anyways, like I said, 502-414-1450, 502-414-1450 to get your thoughts in on that Game Day Men's Health text line. A lot of stuff to discuss on the show. Yesterday it was 70 degrees. Today I don't think it gets up to 25 degrees. It is, and then we had the tornado warning last night. Apparently there was an earthquake in Kentucky.
There was trash cans like flying down Preston Highway.
You know, there's a joke.
That's just Preston Highway.
There's a joke in there, and I'm not going to
sure that wasn't Mark Stoops and his posse?
I'm not going to kindle those flames. This is basketball season. Take that for what you want.
Oh, Mark Pope and his posse?
But it seems like Jeff Brom is all but staying. Michigan made the hire. They went with Kyle Whittingham from Utah, which he actually left the school, said he was leaving and didn't really have a job, so now he's going to be at Michigan. I think it's a pretty good hire for the record, and I always ultimately thought it was either going to be Jed Fish or Kyle Whittingham from the jump. That's kind of where my intuition was serving. But we rewind about a week ago, and there were the rumors swirling that Jeff Brom had been directly contacted by Michigan. His camp had been contacted by those up in Ann Arbor. And there were rumors after the bowl game, after Louisville confirmed to the world that they were the Boca Bullies, and they won the Darling Bowl game. They were the Beans Bowl champion.
Right in front of Michael Key.
That was such a weird cameo. Like I know he has like a part in that, but it's just kind of weird. It's like, dude, what are you doing here? But anyway, back to the timeline. There were rumors right before Christmas Eve that Michigan was going to meet with Brom on Wednesday. Now, I've been going back and forth with Michigan fans who have sworn up and down since this weekend that, this was all a play from Louisville to get him paid, to get him what he wanted. But if you remember, all these rumors, whether it was Michigan, whether it was Penn State, none of it came from the Louisville side. In fact, Louisville's media was pretty consistent throughout. He's not leaving. If he leaves, it's because he didn't get what he wanted in the contract negotiations or the extension talks. I never really felt worried that Jeff Brom was leaving. I did think that the Michigan thing had some legs. I thought that the possibility was there. Truthfully, I believe that this is what happened. I think Michigan contacted Brom, like schools do many coaches out there say, hey, you happy? You interested? What would it take for you to leave? There's the conversation. Pretty happy where I'm at. So people tell you, oh, well, Michigan didn't offer. You're not going to offer somebody who hasn't shown interest in your job. That's just not how coaching searches work. So sure, Michigan offering doesn't mean that they weren't interested at all, though. Rome, I'll say this. This was something that kind of caught me, I won't say off guard, but it made me do a double take.
What's that?
If you aren't that interested in a coach, why did you have national media members go out of their way to tweet out that Jeff Brom wasn't really a serious candidate? Does that make sense?
Trying to save face.
Exactly. It's a heel turn. It's not, they would be the first school to do it. And it's okay to admit that, hey, look, yeah, we gauged the interest with Jeff Brom. And
you telling me the university that cheated in a college football game and then also tried to cover up various scandals with Sharon Moore is trying to save face in the media right now?
Has had something come up every year for like 5 years now?
nobody wanted the job.
I don't know.
Another thing there coming up for him.
Which, I mean, look, I don't know if it was, like, serious. I don't know if he was the top guy on their list. But he was a guy on their list.
He was a guy on everybody's list at one point.
And that's not anything to be shameful about. Like, if you have Jeff Brom on your list, cool. But, man, all those Michigan fans taking victory laps in my YouTube comments, the Locked On Louisville TikTok comments, like, oh, he's as good as gone, and now it's, well, he wasn't good enough in the first place. It's narrative saving 101, taught in elementary school. But I don't care if he was the top guy on their list. I don't care if he was a guy on their list. The good news is that he's staying, or seemingly staying. The only job that I would have been worried about was the Notre Dame job had Marcus Freeman, like, hypothetically jumped to the NFL, and Marcus Freeman tweeted out that they're going to run it back. So, unless Coastal Carolina opens up or Trinity High School opens up, could you imagine? Okay, think about it. Could you imagine Jeff Brom, like, leaving for Trinity?
Jeff Brom,
That would be, I mean, I think we'd have to switch fandom at that point.
I could see him doing something like that, but, like, at the end of his career, like, he
Just
retires.
going to coach on Shelbyville Road.
He's like 77 years old. He's like, I'm going to give Trinity the best 4 years of coaching I could.
Dude, that would be actually hilarious. Like, it'd be so unprecedented, but, like, Louisville fans couldn't show their face for a very long time.
He takes the offensive coordinator job there, not
It's
even
not
the
even
head coach.
Brian Brom becomes the head coach.
If you're a freshman going there, like, we had the most quarterbacks try out for our team in the history of the program.
You might, like, it would be one of those things where everybody flocks to Shelbyville Road to play for that team, as if they don't already. But
like, coach, we have 13 quarterbacks already. We're gonna have to start getting some cornerbacks out there.
But with Jeff Brom staying, look, I had a phone call last Monday night, and didn't get to talk about it on the show because there wasn't a show last week because IU just happened to have a basketball game. I got a phone call Monday night. Basically, long story short, the takeaway was that Josh Hurd he had a plan in place to get the money that Brom wanted. And yeah, I mean, maybe he wanted a raise. Maybe he wanted a contract extension. Maybe he wanted more staff pool money. Maybe he wanted a combination of all three. But you know the main priority for him was getting that financial support via NIL. And there was this narrative that floated over the past couple of months. It's like, well, can Louisville really commit that money? Can they go out and get that money? And I won't say that I was really worried about it, but I had a conversation last Monday night that left me feeling much more optimistic about what Josh Hurd is doing behind the scenes. There are some that aren't a huge fan of Josh Hurd simply because his name's not Tom Jurich. But I think in this saga, I think he's doing a fine job. Especially if he's not like a top guy for the Penn State and the Michigan job. It's like, okay, well, Sean Fribert, Jeff Brom's agent, is doing what he's supposed to do. Your job as an agent is to get your client what they want, which in this case is more NIL money. Fribert's doing that. He's using leverage to his leverage. Like, he's using leverage to his benefit, as he should. And Josh Hurd is sort of just kind of staying even-keeled and say, yeah, we're going to get you what you want. I'm not going to act all rash. I think that the extension probably gets done sooner if Louisville doesn't go on that 3-game losing streak. But credit Josh Hurd for kind of waiting it out for the rest of the season and say, hey, look, this is kind of where we're at. And I'm not really worried at all, is kind of where I'm getting at. I think Josh Hurt has handled this well. I think that Sean Frybert has handled this well. You rarely ever see two sides handle it this well, in my opinion.
You're right. It's one of those situations where I think a lot of Louisville fans in particular are just still a little nervous just because of all these things that have gone on, all these coaching positions have been filled. The Michigan one, for example, they named, Jeff Brom themselves, saying that he was a top candidate.
No. Louisville did that. Michigan didn't.
Oh, you're right. Sorry.
It came from a Michigan publication, but someone logged in from the 502 area code and sent that out in Ann Arbor.
Are we sure it wasn't you?
I mean,
you needed something to talk about on the show.
The Michigan fans would probably believe that before they believe that Michigan was actually interested in him.
Something that made me a little wary of everything. I don't think Jeff Brown's going anywhere. I'm pretty confident on that. But it was all that stuff with Michigan came out, and then just a few days later they announced Kyle Whittingham. But then we hadn't seen the extension announced by U of L. So, usually you would hear that announced, and then they'd be like, well, Kyle Whittingham was actually the coach the whole time. We only had conversations. So it was one of those things where they announced Kyle Whittingham, so now in your back of your mind, you're like, okay, I can rest easy. They're not looking at Jeff Brom anymore. But then you're like, okay, one, were they even looking at him anyway? They announced this so quickly. Or two, the other side is, why do we still not heard anything?
I mean, I truly think that this is basically this. If you ask me, Dalton, your intuition, what do you think happened last week? This is what I would tell you. Beep, boop, boop, boop. Brr, brr. Hey, Jeff, or hey, Sean. Michigan AD here. Michigan personnel here. Are you happy at Louisville? Is there any interest in Ann Arbor? You want to become a Wolverine? How happy are you with your situation? What's something that you're kind of gauging your future on? You are happy? You're working on your future with Louisville? Can we change your mind? Oh, okay. Boop. Hang up. Cal Whittingham. There's no offer on the table because it didn't get there. You don't offer every candidate you talk to.
I think we also need to understand a little bit that when they do make these announcements, the entire world of college sports now is made through the words of agents and lawyers and attorneys. So whenever the statement comes out that a coach is in contact with the university, in quotation marks, that's exactly what it is.
Contact can very literally mean just that.
Like
doesn't
I
have to
texted
be that
Dalton
deep.
on the way in here, what you doing, cutie patootie?
You didn't send that.
I didn't send that.
But last week, Rome was in contact with us when he told us the show was not going to happen. I said, okay, cool. Pain.
We were in contact.
But yeah, I mean, it just kind of goes back to the point to where contact doesn't have to equate to an offer, because you don't just offer everyone. I think Michigan had some exploratory interest. Maybe Whittingham was just as important. Whoever jumped on the job first got it. We don't know what happened behind the scenes because smoke screens are a thing, but to act like them putting out there, there was so many random tweets from too many reputable people out there that said that Jeff Brom wasn't involved after Whittingham got hired, that it seemed like it was a PR move. It's like, oh, this is Michigan trying to put it out there. They're like, hey, we didn't whiff. We got who we wanted. Did you really need to do that if Jeff Brom wasn't involved? It is what it is. What does this mean for the future of NIL with Louisville? What does this mean for the extension? And let me ask you all this, because this kind of sets up what I think. When do you think the extension gets announced? If at all this offseason, do you think it gets announced? And if so, when?
I think it gets announced this offseason. I think, honestly...
But when, though? If you had to narrow it down. Early part of certain month, mid part, late part?
I think it's before the college football championship.
Okay, so basically mid-January?
Yes.
Okay.
Matt? I think in the first 2 weeks of January, before then, really.
That's fair.
I'm around the same play. I'm thinking right before the transfer portal window opens.
Well, that's this week then.
I know.
That's in 5 days.
It opens up on Friday.
I'm expecting there to be an announcement before then.
That's what I'm hoping for.
I'm right there with you, man.
That's what I'm wishing for. But fellas, I feel like we would have gotten it already.
The only reason I say that is because if if you're anybody in the world who has a Twitter account and you're scrolling Twitter and all these people are hitting the portal and you're seeing the teams that are in contact with them, Louisville's not on any of those lists. Like Louisville's not.
They're on the quarterbacks.
They're on the quarterbacks, but you see, like we need wide receivers, we need cornerbacks, we need linebackers, we need linemen. You don't see them on any of these lists, and that makes me believe that they're holding this stuff out. Jeff Brom's going to get this stuff worked out, and they're getting an NIL package together before they reach out to a bunch of these guys because they don't want to promise them anything they can't do. So I'm thinking best case scenario, it gets done here in the next 5 days, and they hit the portal as hard as they can.
But don't forget this fact. You don't have to announce an extension to get the NIL squared away. Like
Sure.
those two things are not mutually exclusive. Like they don't have, like, one's not dependent on the other, right? Well, I guess the extension is dependent on the NIL, but the NIL is not dependent on the extension. It's my understanding or my belief that both parties have made significant strides in coming to a number that they want. Now, contrary to what some have put out there, I don't know the exact dollar amount. I can tell you it's a pretty decent increase from what Louisville spent this year, which still was a pretty penny. But don't forget, NIL wasn't the reason why Louisville didn't make it to the playoff this year. You didn't make the playoff because you lost to Virginia, Clemson, and California at home. 3 games you should have won, arguably. So I think you're going to get that money. I think they've already kind of got an idea of the money that they've got. And the quarterback reporting confirms that, because I don't think that you go out and get involved with guys like Dylan Raiola or Josh Hoover, who is a new name that we'll talk about next segment, or DJ Lagway. 3 quarterbacks that are going to cost you north of it's probably going to cost you more than what Miller Moss did last year, which was about that 1.2 number. I've been told that Louisville's willing to spend more than that. If you don't have your NIL figured out, I don't know if you do go north of that. You do have some sort of clarity. I think that behind the scenes, they know the number that they're working with, or a good ballpark of that number. That just begs the question is, like, how imminent is, like, the actual extension? Does it truly matter if it takes a couple weeks, or do we need it done now? I think if you're a Louisville fan, you're just kind of like, dude, just get it done ASAP because I want peace of mind and I want to put this all behind me. If you're thinking of this from, like, the outside looking in, if it follows Rome's timeline, and let's say it happens the day of the college football championship, which is like, what, January 20-something? It's not really going to matter because you're going to have the NIL stuff figured out way in advance. I would be shocked if they didn't have it figured out right now, because here's what I think is going to happen Friday. Friday, January 2nd is when the portal opens, right? It's going to be like NFL free agency.
Yep.
My take is it's going to be insert player here is entering the portal and plans to sign with insert school here. I think that's what we're going to see a lot. I think you will see some, like, entering the portal. You're going to see some announce where they're going right when that clock strikes.
Who? Because inevitably we're going to go away from the whole, like, players announcing themselves. Like, they'll still do it, but we're moving towards, like, college sports are basically professional now. This is a fun little question. Who do you think is going to be, like, the Shams or the Adam Schefter of college football? Or the Fabrizio Romano.
Pete Nakos will be one. I think Chris Hummer could be another one.
Think Brett McMurphy?
No, I think McMurphy's more of like a big picture type of guy. Now here's a guy. Who's the other guy for 24/7? Damn. I think Steve Wiltfong will be someone who becomes like a Woj or Shams.
But no, you're right. As soon as that opens up, because it is such a small time period now, we only get one of them, it's just going to be free fire. Like, it's just going to be...
It's going to be whose agency reaches out to who,
because this stuff's already getting done behind the scenes now anyway.
Oh, look, man, yeah.
I'd say half of the portal's already done. Like, they're already talking, they're already in conversations, they're already ready to go.
Who's that guy I'm thinking of?
My question is,
Hayes Fawcett will... The on 3, he'll be one. There's one other guy.
My question is, so
I don't know.
Which it's been basically confirmed that Jeff Brown's big thing he wants is, like you said, he wants a bigger NIL package. He wants to be able to compete with the Ohio States, with the Michigans, with the Indianas, with the Alabamas. He wants to be able to compete with them, just like the fans want to. This season, looking back at it, now that that's like his dominant request, Because we've seen that throughout Jeff Brom's whole career, he's done more with less. That's what his tenure is. That's what he's known for, being the best coach with the least amount of resources. Do you think that with the team they put together this season, had a great receiving core, little lackadaisical O-line at the beginning of the season, got better at the end, great, really great, amazing defense, great at skill positions, great running back room, great wide receiver core, everything, all we were missing was the quarterback. Do you get the feeling that maybe this year was like a final experimental year for Jeff Brom, being like, okay, I've always been the quarterback guy. What if I put that money elsewhere and see what we can do with a game-managing quarterback, and it just doesn't work? It just didn't work out. So now he's like, look, if we want to compete, you're seeing what Indiana's doing with Fernando Mendoza. You're seeing what Ohio State's doing with Julian Sayin. You got to go get a quarterback. No matter what we have on the team, we need a quarterback.
I think they just whiffed on Miller. I think that they thought Miller could be that guy.
You think it's that simple? They just
I think it's just a matter of it didn't work out. Now, granted, it's more complicated than just that, right? I mean,
he spent a lot bringing Duke and Isaac back.
Well, you didn't have a running back presence until like 5 weeks into the season because guys were hurt. Offensive line wasn't doing well.
We started off the year talking about Miller's not in the situation we thought he was going to be in.
As the season progressed, offensive line got better, your rushing attack got better, and your quarterback play got worse. So honestly, Rome, I think it was just a matter of they just whiffed on Miller.
Yeah, I think
you hit really hard on Shuck. Like, that was a huge hit. Shout out Shuck, by the way. OROY 2025 in the NFL. But you missed on Miller. And it happens when you go to the portal, especially with the quarterback spot.
I don't think Miller Moss was necessarily like, okay, this is the number one guy we want, right? If money doesn't matter. I think that out of the increment that they were looking to spend at the quarterback positions, I'm not saying they were cutting corners or being cheap, but you're not spending the $3 million, the $4 million. You're not going to get Nadarius Mensah, right? Yeah. You're taking the route of getting a guy that is a little bit in that tier below that price range and who you think has the best skill set to go and be what you need. Now, I think that they thought that you're right. They were wrong about Miller being that, but I do think there is something to be said about not being in that top tier kind of a market for those kinds of quarterbacks. Not choosing to be in that market, I should say. And they whiffed, right? He was not the ball thrower downfield like I thought. Some of the throws that he made last year against big teams, he was not replicating those throws consistently against lesser teams this year at all. And he kind of never really got that groove of the difference that Jeff Brom's play calling is. They mentioned it like every game in the beginning of the season. It felt like we talked to Miller. He's still learning how to adjust to getting two or three different plays in his headset and having to get those out there to his guys and then having to go and choose the play, which one he sees based on the deep. He didn't even know how to do that until the halfway through the point of the season. So
it just didn't work out.
It didn't work out. They didn't get their guy. They didn't have the player they needed in that position to go and do the things this offense needed. I mean, you saw the difference last year. Third and long last year, you were confident that Tyler Shuck was going to make the right decision. Mm-hmm. When we had those pass plays and we got creative, Tyler always got the ball where it needed to go. Jeff Brom couldn't even get deep into his playbook this year because of how bad they whiffed. So I think there's something to be said about that for sure, but also something to be said about the fact that they chose to stay in that second tier of price range for quarterbacks, and that's what you got. It's a bigger risk in that tier.
You couldn't, with the needs that you have and the budget that you had, you couldn't go out and
can't get Duke and bring in Isaac.
Well, it's also I think that there's two reasons why they're going to spend more for a quarterback this year. The first reason's just that you whiffed on a quarterback, and you saw how that might have held you back from the playoffs this year. If Shuck is on this year's team, you win the ACC hands down. So
Shuck was,
if that's going to be a reason why you spend money, another reason's inflation. Market's going to be higher. There are many emphasis on that word, many teams that need a quarterback. And the demand is there, but the supply might not be. There aren't that many great quarterbacks that are going to enter the portal. It's a weird offseason. And you're going to see Jeff Brom operate pretty quickly, in my opinion. You're going to see him try to bring in his quarterback ASAP, because if you need receivers, well, I mean, how likely is it you're going to be able to get guys committed, serious guys that you want, if you don't have a quarterback in place? Well, we might bring in this player. Might. Doesn't do it for me. But if you go out and right away you get a guy like a Dylan Raiola or a Josh Hoover, then all of a sudden, wide receivers are like, okay, well, they've got the quarterback in place, and you're not going to do that by playing money ball. You've got to spend right away, and I think I think Louisville knows that. That's what I'm getting at. I think they know that. I would be very shocked if they spend even equal amount of money on the quarterback this cycle. I think that they spend a decent amount more. So, but let's go to break. When we come back, we'll break down some of those quarterbacks. Dylan Raiola, DJ Lagway, Josh Hoover. We'll discuss them all. When we come back, you're tuned in to Mondays with Dalton Pence here on Big X Sports Radio. Top of the hour here on, well, gosh, I was sitting here thinking, is this January? Not, is this December 28th or 29th? Because I'm sitting here thrown off. I've been off of work for like a week, and it's just like the days have just kind of been jumbled together, and I'm like, duh, it's Monday. We're on air. December 29th. This is the final episode of 2025, and it's just wild to think. Thanks for tuning in to Mondays with Dalton Pence here on Big X Sports Radio. Dalton, Roman, and Matt taking you till 7 o'clock tonight, continually talking about what's relevant in the football world for Louisville, kind of switching the conversation over to the quarterback spot. Continuing what we just talked about, I think that one thing we have to realize as a fan base, of all the options out there, every single player that you could realistically bring in, they all come with their own risks. And those risks might look differently. It could be accuracy issues. It could be processing, footwork, arm strength, you name it. Each quarterback has their own risk. In fact, I'm not sure if there's going to be a quarterback that enters the portal this offseason that doesn't have a risk. Like that would only pertain to QBs that are like high-end starters at a blue blood level program, like a Julian Sayin or like a Gunnar Stockton or insert really good quarterback here.
Are we counting Gunnar Stockton as a really good quarterback?
I mean, I
think
think
he's
had
a really good quarterback because he's at Georgia.
I mean, I think he's had a good year. I think if he came to Louisville, he would be good.
He's a good quarterback.
I think he's a good quarterback.
Not really.
Not really good.
You don't? Well,
I don't think he's really good.
I agree to disagree. I think that offense is much better with him than it is Carson Beck, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And Carson Beck, honestly, if you think about it, if it's not for that Louisville game, Carson Beck would be in the Heisman conversation.
He would.
If it wasn't for that
Gunnar
Louisville
had
game.
a couple stinky games this year, though.
Yeah, it is. I was just trying to name names. But anyway, the point being this. Every time a quarterback get mentioned, there have been Louisville fans in the comments saying, well, no, I don't want this guy because he has blank. Or I don't want this guy because he does blank. Or he doesn't do blank. And we've got to understand and operate under the assumption that whoever you bring in, there's going to be a decent amount of risk involved. What that risk is, case specific.
That's just how it is. I mean, that was the same thing when we got Tyler Shuck. Everybody was
all
terrified
three
that he was going
quarterbacks
to get
that
hurt.
brought in. There are very few, like, surefire, oh, my goodness, this guy could be a Heisman candidate this year.
Yeah, you got to realize that most of the time you're kind of getting damaged goods. And you're hoping
to an extent.
Well, in the portal.
That's just what it is. Look, Tyler Shuck was a miracle. Tyler Shuck just struggled with horrendous injury his entire career. Never really got a good shot at any of the schools he went to. He comes here. The first thing is we got to protect this dude because if he goes down one time, we might lose him, and then we have no quarterback. And then he comes out being arguably one of the best quarterbacks in the country, and now he's probably the best offensive rookie in the NFL right now. Like, the dude was lightning in a bottle. So
Louisville got really lucky with Shuck because of the injury issue. Like, the talent was obviously there, and there just won't be many opportunities to bring in a guy like Shuck who's got NFL talent, but he comes at a severely discounted price because of the injuries and because of the age.
You're also competing with a lot less schools for him. Like, it's just he's not on the same radar as that, maybe every school in the country is. You're not competing for Ohio State or Oregon with him.
I'm going to go down the line and mention quarterbacks. I want you all to, out of 10, rate how happy you would be if this guy was Louisville's QB1 next year, okay? Dylan Raiola. Rome?
6.
Okay. Matt?
5.
That's a little low. What are your main issues with Raiola?
I think that he's another tenured quarterback. We've seen enough college football from him to kind of see what we have in Dylan Raiola. We're not getting a dude from like a mid-major program that's kind of having to step up. He's played in the big games. He's played against big teams. Played against Power 4 opponents. I feel like he's really shaky. He's really streaky. Like, he could look like the best quarterback in the country at some points, and then you look like the worst. I know that's nitpicking, like you're kind of talking about right now.
I'm right there with you. I question the decision making.
I feel like he's closer. I feel like he's closer to like a Miller Moss with a big arm than other quarterbacks in the portal are.
I agree with all that. I think that when you look at the different options, Raiola's probably up at the top in terms of like the highest floor, but also the highest ceiling. I'll
give you that.
I think you worry about his mobility, not just worrying about the ability. It's like the willingness to move. Like, he holds on to the ball too long. He kind of takes some coverage sacks.
Well, he's Patrick Mahomes.
If it's not perfect protection and perfect
But
routes
here's the
being
thing about
run
this:
and a perfect
Nebraska's
play call-
O-line. You think Louisville's O-line was bad? Nebraska didn't have a good O-line either.
No,
And you're also Matt Rule is not necessarily as good of a play caller as Jeff Brom. I think that there's a lot of things going into effect there. I think that it's one of those where you're banking on the change of scenery with Raiola and having a different voice of coaching, because there's one thing about Dylan you can't argue is the NFL arm.
Yeah.
He can make so many different throws from so many different arm angles. His talent is more Shuck-esque than it is Plummer or Moss-esque. Like, you're talking about the talent of a Tyler Shuck with maybe some of the decision-making of a Miller Moss.
Yeah.
Now, I do think that the processing, the upside is probably more so along the lines of Plummer than it is Moss. Like, I think that Raiola is hands down a better processor than Miller Moss.
For me, for Dylan Raiola, or Raiola.
I say Raiola.
I don't know how do you pronounce it, but it would all depend on who we have around him. So if we had like a Colin Lacey and a Chris Bell again next year, like not obviously those players, they're not going to come back, but players like that who we have significant deep threat capabilities, a dude who, one, the issue with Miller Moss is, yeah, he had decision-making issues. He also just could not throw the ball like 30 yards downfield. He just couldn't.
And
like,
Raiola can.
He can. So, like, if he's going to have decision-making issues, you're at least adding a deep ball threat that, like, okay, I don't need to go through 4 progressions to find somebody. My deep threat is going to be down there. Screw it. Chris Bell's down there somewhere. Like, I would rather see us throw up a punt than see us do a check down again and throw the ball in harm's way and throw a pick 6.
Like, I think that he has the talent, like the talent you can't teach. I think it's just a matter of kind of fine-tuning his tendencies and fine-tuning his decision-making, and I think that Braum can help with that, and I think that the play calling can help with that. So I think that my excitement would be at like a 7.58, and it might be closer to an 8 because I go back to this thing. It was like, if it's not Raiola, then who? Like, who realistically can you point to and say, well, he's going to be better than Dylan? So trying to think all things into consideration in the context, I'm going to go with an 8 for Raiola. Let's go with DJ Lagway.
I'll go 7.
He's higher than Raiola on your list?
He is for me. I like Lagway a little more than Raiola.
But what does Lagway do that Raiola doesn't?
I think he's a bit more versatile. Just with the way that he gets off when he has to put the ball and tuck the ball and run, I think that gives you that more of an option than Raiola is displayed, at least this past season. Now, there were reports that Raiola came into camp out of shape, like significantly out of shape, and he wasn't able to do a lot of the things that they expected him to be able to do. I think Lagway's having a little bit of some chaotic coaching happening down there, the way that they play football. So I think if you got him in a better system, that asking him to do a little bit less and keeping him in a position to make plays, I would see Lagway having more success here than he did at Florida. And just that body type, the way that he goes about playing football, I like more than Raiola ultimately. Now, the processing for Lagway is still a bit iffy ultimately. Obviously not as experienced, a little bit younger guy. But I think the ceiling for Lagway is a little bit higher in my eyes than it is for Raiola.
So you had as a 7. What about you, Matt?
I'm on the opposite end of Roman. If I have Raiola at 5, I'm going to put DJ Lagway like a 4.5.
I'm right there with you.
I'm not like, I think they're extremely similar because of the points that Roman already made, but I think that his athleticism and his ability makes his decision making almost even worse. And I feel like he's one of those players that it puts pressure on him, whereas he's not great at making the decision of when to use his athleticism, when to use his arm. His ceiling is extremely high, but that also could be, like you said, Roman, that it could be a coaching problem. Maybe if he gets under a dude like Jeff Braum, who knows how to coach quarterbacks, maybe you can iron that out because he is a younger talent. He does have a lot more capabilities and a lot more time to adjust. His ceiling could be higher than we think. For me, if I'm looking at it, I'm kind of over the whole, like, can we develop quarterbacks, can we not? I want a dude who can come in here that even if they got some baggage, even if they got some work we need to do with them, I'd rather have somebody that's a little more cemented, and I guess that'd be Dylan Raiola if I picked out of those two.
With DJ Lagway, this is the epitome of high risk, high reward. If Raiola's a 7.5 or an 8 for me, Lagway's at about a 6.5. Playing for Billy Napier, Sunbelt Billy, probably not the easiest thing to do offensively.
No.
But that being said, DJ Lagway was supposed to take a step forward this year.
True.
You know did you see his numbers? His touchdown to interception
It was bad.
16 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. He's more mobile, for sure, than Dylan Raiola. But, and he's also got the size. Like, he's 6'3", 247. That is a big dude. That's like Tim Tebow size. 6'3", 247, that's a massive human being. He's got incredible arm strength. If he were to put it all together, that probably screams top 5 pick in the NFL draft. That's the type of talent you're working with. The issue is he hasn't put it on the field consistently. And he's been hurt. He's dealt with injuries. Every season he's been at Florida. Well, 2 seasons he's been at Florida because he's only been there 2 years. Lagway, if you are worried about the risks, Lagway's the one that I'm just not sure, with all that's riding on the 2026 season, I'm not sure if I can bank on him turning it around. Could he? 100%. And if he does, man, that would be incredible because Lagway is an insane talent. The issue is for me is I'm looking at mitigating as much risk as I can. Not only who can help me win games, but if you put them in there, at the very worst, can they be a game manager? I think that Lagway's floor is a little bit lower than Dylan Raiola. So that's what worries me a little bit. I would be okay. Like, I could talk myself into getting DJ Lagway because of the talent alone. But the production hasn't been there. The clean bill of health hasn't been there. I get worried about it. I think the risks are greater than Dylan Raiola. So those two have been mentioned with Louisville over the past couple of weeks. Some new names have popped up as well. One today, the Cardinals apparently are in the mix for TCU transfer Josh Hoover. I'll start out this one. My excitement on that would be a 9. Josh Hoover would be my top target. And it looks like it could come down between Louisville and Indiana. I wish this was like 2021 so they wouldn't be that big of a battle, but Indiana's a tall task to go up against. Hoover is a player that one of the main things that people were worried about or were concerned about with Miller Moss was the processing. You don't have that issue with Hoover. Hoover is lightning quick with this processing. He might not have like this great NFL arm. He doesn't have the NFL size. He's 6'2", 200 pounds. But the processing, the accuracy that he plays with, and just the ability to go through his reads, it would be a breath of fresh air from last year. Now, he does have to limit the interceptions. If we talk about Lagway's interceptions, he had 14. Hoover had 13 last year.
They're throwing the ball a lot.
They throw the ball a lot.
Florida threw the ball more this year than they did last year.
Josh Hoover's touchdowns.
Bash Lagway.
This year, he was 7th in the country in yards passing and touchdowns.
Yes.
So he's a veteran guy. He's played in the Power 4.
His interceptions make up for it.
Yeah, his interceptions, I think sometimes like the velocity is inconsistent. Sometimes he floats passes when he needs to, snap the wrist a little bit more and have a little bit more zip on the ball. But if you're talking about a guy who you can put into this offense and Brom could help raise the ceiling with, dude, Josh Hoover could take you to the playoffs. He would be my QB1 target.
I'm at about an 8, 8.5 with Josh Hoover. He has all of the ability to make all the throws that a Jeff Brom offense is going to ask him to make. That's most important at this point. With what we've seen from Plummer, what we've seen from Miller Moss, what we've seen from the receiver play and the play calling, guys are going to get open downfield. We've seen it 3 years in a row now. Can we consistently get the ball to them? Tyler was the only one that showed he could consistently do that. Hoover is the type of player that can consistently do that. If you give Hoover a good offensive line and a couple of running backs to take the load off of him, this is easily the best candidate for what we like to do offensively. Little bit limited mobility, not, going to really run all that much, not the fastest runner, but he's a smart decision maker. So he's typically avoids the sacks. For how much he's getting sacked, if I'm being honest, he avoids sacks great. Because that was TCU was weird. The weird offensive line, they weren't bad, but against good teams, they weren't good. And it showed, right? Those were the games where he had a couple more interceptions. Had maybe a couple games where there was double interceptions against those better teams. I think a better offense. I think having running backs is automatically going to limit half of those interceptions. When you have running backs that you can go to and you can stay ahead of the chains, if we're going to go the route where it's not someone you're building in here for at least like a couple of years, you're going to try to add a couple of things to their game, see if they can add something to your culture, then yeah, it needs to be the Hoover route.
Matt?
I think I'd go about 7.5, 8. I'd be really excited to see Josh Hoover coming in over here in this uniform. I think out of all the candidates, he is the one that I would be least worried about by about a quarter mile. Like, I think his biggest downfall, like Roman said, is his athleticism is not too high, but that also isn't that big of a deal for me because, I mean, Jeff Brom, he's not out there reaching out to the Lamar Jacksons. Like, he's just not. That's not his system.
I don't think there is a Lamar Jackson out there, but the
There's
mobile quarterback,
yes,
right?
He's not a big mobile quarterback guy. His system doesn't really fit that play. He likes getting the running backs involved. He likes playing that traditional kind of passing and mobile offense where it's not your quarterback needs to have enough legs or he can shift around the pocket like Tyler Shuck could do. Miller Moss didn't really have that ability. I think that Josh Hoover does. Not like he's not going to break up for a 45-yard run, but he definitely has the leg talent to shift around the pocket while still going through his progressions. And I think that if we add that, even just that on this team this year, the ceiling would have been so much higher. So
Right.
I would be genuinely excited for Josh Hoover.
Okay. Well, we have two more quarterbacks to discuss, and we will answer a question from a texter about why doesn't Louisville just invest in the guys that they have on the roster already? And we'll discuss that. But truthfully, at the end of the day, I already told you all once, I'll tell you again, I trust Jeff Brom. I know the Miller Moss situation didn't work out, but the Tyler Shuck one did. The Plummer one didn't go terribly. I'm giving Jeff Brom the benefit of the doubt, and I'm putting my trust in him. And whoever he wants to bring in, that's who I'm going to ride with. And talking about full trust, we can't control who Louisville goes out and gets a quarterback, just like you can't control getting in an accident, whether that's an automobile accident, whether it's something at work, it's something with premise liability, it's a motorcycle wreck, nursing home negligence, animal attacks, you name it. Tony Collier's got you covered in a variety of different ways. He's going to safeguard your rights, and he's going to get you paid. Look, he knows the opposing team's playbook. He's worked with the big insurance companies. So he's going to do everything he can to get you paid and give you that peace of mind. CallYourLawFirm.com. Check it out. Give him a call, 502-736-8141. If you have been injured in an accident or on the way to work, that's CallYourLawFirm.com. 502-736-8141. We'll be right back. When we do, we'll discuss the final quarterback options that have been linked to Louisville and answer the question, just why hasn't Louisville gone with any internal candidates to be QB1 of the future? More on that here on Big X Sports Radio.
Having trouble finding that UK or U of L basketball game on TV? Waldo's Chicken and Beer in Norton Commons has every UK and U of L game this
Two segments down, two to go here on this December 29th. Very, very cold edition of Mondays with Dalton Pence here in the Ville, but we'll keep the mics hot for you up till 7 o'clock. Dalton, Roman, and Matt here in the Big X Sports Studio. 502-414-1450, the Game Day Men's Health text line. If you want to get any of your thoughts in or have any questions on what Louisville is going to do for QB1 next season, be sure to send those in. We have a texter sent this in. How does Louisville get out of the rent-a-QB cycle and put trust in a younger guy? And is that even a goal, or is this our best bet forever? It's a very, very good question. Do you all have any answers you want to get into that before I give my take?
Roman?
I think that you got to go spend the money on that 5-star. I think getting out of the rent of QB cycle means buying into the QB whisperer, offensive guru mindset that we kind of have nationally right now and we're talked about, being a Jeff Brom coached team. You know, I think that means you go out there, you get the best young 4.5-star, you know, not maybe the number one quarterback, but right there, 5-star in the category for being a top 5 type of freshman quarterback, the one that most suits your game. Go get them every 2 years. Every 2 years, go get one.
Do you think Briggs Sherry could be that?
I think so.
He's not a 5-star guy.
He's not. He's a 4-star
I don't think you
guy.
need a 5-star guy. I think you just need a guy. I mean, I do think you have to recruit in that 4-star range. I don't think you can consistently bring in 3-stars and bank on them being the player.
But playing those kids, getting that freshman in, playing that freshman.
You have to commit to them.
Winning games with that freshman, keeping them for that second year, winning games again, and then getting another one to come in and say, hey, this is going to be you.
They have to come in as a freshman and play. I think that they need, if you want to develop them as a freshman, sure, but you have to have the belief in them to go out there and when you put them in, that their development's going to serve right for the program. And, of course, Deuce Adams got some run this season, very minimal, but he did play against SMU. Had a couple of throws where it's like, dude, this guy's got the arm. But it felt like the playbook was pretty limited, and he didn't get any opportunity after that. Now, Millen Moss ended up winning the Governor's Cup, but I think it just kind of shows you what Jeff Brom thinks about his quarterback room, because at the end of the day, he's with these players every day, or in season he's with them every day. He knows what they bring to the table. So part of me is like, well, he understands that maybe they can't ride with what they have. And the other part of me is like, well, he's going into year 4. Why can't you, right? Like, why do you not have a quarterback that you can rely on internally to step in to be the guy? Like, why are you having trouble developing those guys? Now, truthfully, I don't think this is going to be a forever problem. I hope it's not. I think that Briggs Cherry is the guy that we circle. I think that he is the player that you're ultimately looking to turn the keys over to, and it could be next offseason if you go out and get a 1-year quarterback and say, hey, look, lead us to the playoffs and then turn the keys over to Briggs Cherry. I kind of go back and forth on whether or not Deuce Adams is going to enter the portal. Because if you go out and you go get a starting QB, a guy who you know is going to be QB1, I mean, do you think that Deuce Adams stays for another year knowing he's going to be another backup and might get a shot next year? Or do you think he's like, you know what? This is my, 3rd year in the program, right? Going to be my 3rd year. I want to go somewhere where I can play.
Yep.
I think it fully depends on the level of quarterback that we get in the portal.
I agree.
If we get, like, the Josh Hoover, or if we somehow pulled off a Sam Levitt or something like that, he's gone. Like, he's just not going to – he's going to be the backup no matter what. Yeah. Now, if we were to get a DJ Lagway, a bigger guy, it's a bigger risk, then you could talk to Deuce Adams and be like, look, there's going to be a genuine chance for you to start this year.
Yeah,
you're going to be in a genuine QB battle. It's all up to you. If you don't want to be a part of that, that's up to you, because we're still have Briggs Cherry coming in. He'll just be in the QB battle. The thing is I think goes back to our point we made earlier about this is the big why Jeff Brom is making such a big deal with this NIL package is Roman, you already said it. You go out and get the 5 stars. You go get those high 4 stars, which I think we all here agree that Briggs Cherry has the ability to be. He's already shown it in high school. He's already shown it in every little, like high school combine he's played in. He's got the arm talent. He's really good at going through his progressions. He's just a great quarterback. The one thing that's held Louisville back 2 out of the 3 years is quarterback play. I feel like Jeff Brom is just done with it. He's like, dude, I need more money so I can go out and get those guys. So I can go out and get I'm going to be able I'm not trying to compete with the Alabamas, Ohio States at every position, but I want to at least be in the ear of every quarterback they're eventually going after. Because remember, he was also going after Fernando Mendoza.
Yeah, and my take is, like, some people say, oh, well, Fernando Mendoza, he was going to come to Louisville if it wasn't for Miller Moss, and I couldn't disagree more. I do think that that's who they would have turned their attention to. Now, don't forget, he originally said he was going to stay at Cal. Indiana and Georgia got him back into the portal, and you're telling me that last year Louisville would have outbid Indiana and Georgia for him?
No.
Don't see it.
I think
don't
that
see it. I think Mendoza sounded good, and I really wanted Fernando. You all know that. I was on here saying I want Mendoza as QB1. It didn't happen. We got Miller Moss, and I was excited about that, and, of course, wrong about it. But
I believe that he's just genuinely getting outbid by these schools, and he's done with it. It's the point where, yes, Jeff Brom knows how to coach quarterbacks. I mean, we saw it with Miller Moss this year. Like, Miller Moss had some great games this year. We saw with Jack Plummer. Jack Plummer took us to the ACC championship game. You saw with Tyler Shuck. He took a guy who's been riddled with injuries, probably a little bit low of confidence going at the beginning of the season.
Yeah,
and he picked it up again, NFL quarterback. You can't teach talent, though. Like, I feel like he has been limited so far of the talent level of some of the quarterbacks he's bringing in, and Miller Moss and Jack Plummer being the glaring ones, where you can teach them the system, they can learn the plays, they can learn the progressions, they can learn all the routes, they can learn which decisions to make when, but at the end of the day, Miller Moss just can't throw it downfield. Jack Plummer just couldn't throw it downfield. It's one of those things where, yes, all the coaching helps, but sometimes you really just we've seen it. It's basketball. But we've seen it with Michael Brown this year. Sometimes Pat Kelsey doesn't need to stop the game. You just need to give Michael Brown the ball and let him hoop. Sometimes the same thing in football. Sometimes when you have a great quarterback, just like we had Lamar Jackson, Bobby Petrino doesn't need to call some elaborate play. Just go let Lamar Jackson go out there and score you points.
Right.
And I don't think we've allocated enough resources to give Jeff Brom that ability just yet.
I mean, it also comes down to you needed more in the portal last year. Right? Like, you needed to replace some guys, and you had spots to fill on defense. It just comes down to scouting. It comes down to money allocation, and it's free agency, man. It's like, how do you manage your budget? So I think that it's not ideal that you have to continue to go to the portal. I understand you're trying to win every year, and just because you bring in a guy in the high school class doesn't automatically mean that he's going to stay if you develop him. But it's also like you would like to see that more. I don't think this is going to be a forever issue. Well, let's go over 2 more quarterbacks in our exercise. You rate what your excitement would be on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 being the highest, you'd be really excited. 1, you're like, man, I don't want this guy. The first of the 2, and this was in an article from Louisville's On3 site, an article from Will McDermott. Colton Joseph, transfer from Old Dominion this past year as a sophomore, 21 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 2,600 yards for the Monarchs. What would your level of excitement be there, Matt?
5.
Okay.
4.5. Right on the same thing as Rail and DJ Lagway. I think that this would be a quarterback, like I mentioned, that Deuce Adams is probably staying. And this is a guy who is either going to be a really great backup or could start, depending on how the offseason goes and how his practicing goes and how they play together. This would be one that, like, wouldn't excite me at all. But if it, I would trust Jeff Brom that, like, hey, if he's going after a quarterback like this, maybe we're spending some big money at the other skill positions, giving him some serious help. So I'd say about a 4.5 or a 5.
I'd say about a 5 as well. I think this is, like Matt just said, a sign that they're kind of trying to come in here and build something around him and not necessarily have him come and be the culprit of what they wanted to do. So, I mean, it's not necessarily enticing, but you'd have to think that there's something there that we don't know, right, in his skill set that we haven't gotten to see, that they are confident in, that they can work with. That's kind of how we felt about Miller, though, right? I don't want to go into a season feeling that way again necessarily.
I think Colton Joseph if he played at, let's say, Minnesota or something, and did what he did for Old Dominion, I think that he'd be talked about a little more. And don't get me wrong, there are going to be a long list of suitors. Like Florida State is apparently interested, Tennessee, West Virginia. Like there are some top teams in the Power 4 level that are looking at Joseph because of what he was able to do. I believe Old Dominion's in the Sun Belt, if I'm not mistaken. But he had a really good season. And I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's one of those guys that I would caution everyone to scoff at just because he comes from the non-Power 4 level. I'd say my excitement would probably be at about a 7 for Joseph. I watched a decent amount of Old Dominion because I'm a college football degenerate, truthfully, but I watched a good amount of Sun Belt football this year because it's a fun conference to watch. And Joseph was a hell of a quarterback. And I think that putting him around better skill position guys could ultimately open up so much for him as a QB. And don't forget, this is also an aspect that he brings to the table. 1,000-yard rusher. Rushed for 1,000 yards, 13 touchdowns on the ground. In his 2 years with the Monarchs, 24 total rushing touchdowns. So if you want Jeff Brom to go out and get a mobile quarterback, that's your guy. Really, that's your guy. So always questions about how that skill set translates to the Power 4, but ACC, I don't really worry about that much. I'm going to go with the 7. The final one, and this is one that I hadn't heard Louisville involved with, but this was apparently a name to watch for according to Will McDermott in that same article from last week that had mentioned Hoover and Joseph, Raiola, Lagway, and then you hear Hoover's name today. The other name is Bryce Baker. Bryce Baker, 6'3" freshman, plays for North Carolina, ranked as just outside of a top 150 recruit in the 2025 class, didn't play this season, didn't record a statistic. He's another name. Now, if you're talking about unknowns, this is one of those players that you're just banking on the high school talent. This could be one where you're like, okay, we'll bring in Bryce Baker to compete with Deuce Adams, and whoever wins that job wins it fair and square. But what would your excitement be for a guy like Bryce Baker who doesn't have the college production yet, but he didn't play as a true freshman this past year, but was really highly rated out of high school?
Like a 3.5.
Mm-hmm.
Just not. I would love to have it, like we've already talked. I would love to have more younger talent in here and we develop more players. I think, but having already Briggs Cherry coming in, that would kind of deter me from a player like Bryce Baker, because I mean, how many freshmen / sophomore / redshirt freshmen do we want on the squad at the same time when we having a quarterback issue?
Yeah.
Is Deuce Adams going to lead that 3-man quarterback room of 3 guys who've all never taken a snap in college? I would much rather see a veteran, even if it's like just 2 years, like DJ Lagway. So I'd say probably about a 3.5.
This one's tough because I love everything about Bryce Baker other than what he's already accomplished. Skill set looks good. Interviews, all of that, seems like a good kid. Seems like he can really throw the ball as well. Can he do it at this level? No one knows yet. And we've already got a Briggs Cherry coming in who's going to be in that same kind of a boat, learning how to play at this level. I would lean Briggs more so than there, but I think Baker has all the tools.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I'm going to go with about a 4. And it's because if you're worried about DJ Lagway, then you have to be worried about Bryce Baker because of the risk of the unknown, right? I mean, this is really like high risk, high reward because you just don't know.
Different than Deuce
and
either.
it's also like, as a redshirt freshman, realistically, how good is he going to be next year? Like, is he going to have like a solid like foundation year? But if you bring a guy like Isaac Brown back for maybe his last year at Louisville, aren't you going to try to maximize that? Aren't you going to try to maximize getting to the college football playoff? And I understand that just because he's a redshirt freshman doesn't mean that he isn't going to be a good quarterback, but there's a lot riding on that. And if they go out and get a guy like Baker, that kind of signals to me that either A, they've missed out on other guys, and or B, they're just going to make it an open competition for Cherry, for Adams, for Mason Mims, further down the line. We'll see. And then maybe it's a situation where, like, hey, we've missed out on some guys. Let's go out and get a guy like Bryce Baker and allocate some of that money that we had planned for the quarterback and go ahead and maybe revamp the offensive line more or go get another skill position guy that we couldn't have gotten if we went out and got a big-time quarterback. So, I don't know. It's interesting to think about, but, hey, again, at the end of the day, I'm going to trust Jeff Brom. So, that concludes this exercise. We got to call it how you see it when we come back for the final segment of the show. Louisville basketball finally back in action. They'll take on California on the road. The dreaded West Coast road trip starts tomorrow night from a 10-day hiatus. California's an interesting team. Should we be worried about this game? We'll break it down when we come back. You're tuned into Mondays with Dalton Pence here on Big X Sports Radio.
Having trouble finding that UK or U of L game on TV? Waldo's Chicken and Beer in Norton Commons has every UK and U of L game this season, even the streaming-only games. $5 appetizers, $6 pitchers of draft beer, and wing specials during all the games. Plus, in-house fun, games, and prizes every night. Come enjoy Norton Commons' favorite sports hangout with 36 TV screens to catch every moment of every game. Waldo's Chicken and Beer in Norton Commons. Get in here. Your game day just got upgraded.
The Stripe Out makes its return to the KFC Yum Center on January 6th as Louisville men's basketball hosts Duke. Fans sitting in an even section wear red, and fans sitting in odd sections wear black. Visit gokarts.com/MVB Stripe Out to purchase tickets.
Experience Ivy Tech from the comfort of your own home. Check out Ivy Experience, an all-in-one platform that allows you to explore our beautiful campus, diverse programs, and helpful resources. You can visit experiencesellersburg.ivytech.edu to start your experience and apply for free today. Visit experiencesellersburg.ivytech.edu today.
If you've been hurt in a car accident or hurt on the job, there's only one law firm to call. Call my friend Tony at the Collier Law Firm at 502-736-8141. Tony will get you paid. This guy used to work for the insurance company, so he knows the other team's playbook. Tony's a die-hard Cardinal fan. His family's from Portland and Shively, and he grew up in Fern Creek. With that combination, you know this man can fight and win. In an accident or hurt on the job, call Collier Law Firm. That's C-O-L-Y-E-R Law Firm. Call today.
My name is Terry Schultz, CEO for the Rutherford County Area Habitat for Humanity. Republic Bank has really been a game changer. They have invested not only financially, but time to really listen so that we can move our mission forward. What I like about Republic Bank is they've come in asking, what are your needs? And I don't know that you get that any other place.
That's Terry's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank, time to thrive. Member FDIC.
When design is key to your landscape project, give Walnut Ridge Landscape and Design a call at 812-288-6691. Walnut Ridge has more experience than any landscape company in the area. Remember, Walnut Ridge Landscape and Design. When design is key to your project and you want the most experienced landscaping company in the area. Give Walnut Ridge a call at 812-288-6691. Walnut Ridge Landscape and Design. When design is key.
It gets even colder tonight. Temperatures plummet into the teens by Tuesday morning. There will be wind chills in the single digits. Dress for that as you're heading out early Tuesday. Otherwise, by Tuesday afternoon, we've got partly sunny skies, highs near freezing. Wednesday, it's New Year's Eve, mostly cloudy skies, highs near 40, and a small snowflake chance. I'm Wave Storm Tracking Team meteorologist Ryan Hoke.
This forecast is brought to you by United Mechanical, your trusted partner for commercial and industrial HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and refrigeration. Call 502-339-1133.
This is Kentuckiana's only locally owned sports talk. The Big X, AM 1450 and 96.1 FM, WXVW Jeffersonville.
6:41, we got just a little bit more time together, Card Nation, before we end it for the evening, taking you up until about 7 o'clock tonight. Thanks for tuning in to another week's installment of Mondays with Dalton, Pence, Dalton, Rome, and Matt. Keeping the airwaves hot until the top of the hour. I don't know who tweeted it. Might have been Nick Coffey. Might have been Baxley on Twitter. I don't know who tweeted it out, but basically suggesting that Louisville has not won a game on the road this decade in which they've had 10-plus days off beforehand.
That's not
they're like 0-4.
Yikes.
I saw where Louisville is. Well, currently, according to ESPN, Louisville's a 7.5-point favorite ahead of tomorrow night's game against California out on the West Coast. It's a 9 o'clock tip-off against Mark Madsen's team playing at the Haas Pavilion in Berkeley. This was a hard one to kind of figure out because California is one of those teams that you wonder if they're like Pittsburgh last year to where it's a quad one victory now, but are they as good as their 12-1 record might suggest? Because they're 1-1 in the net rankings, okay? They beat UCLA, who I don't think highly of. And then they lost by 3 points at Kansas State where they gave up 99. So the question now is, how worried are you about this game? Maybe not so much just the opponent, but like the setting. Like you're going out on the West Coast. You haven't played in 10-plus days. What are your all's thoughts on this game?
Roman?
I mean, I think it's nice that we get these two games when we get them. The fact that you get them right at the start of your conference schedule, you get them at the same time, of course. It's one trip. I didn't know that stat about the 10 days off. I didn't know that. I think it's ideal. Before I heard about that stat, I thought it was ideal. Getting rest going into these two games, getting out there 24 hours in advance to kind of like cap off your non-con slate, and it's a bit of an in-between before the true non-con slate is here, where you're not traveling across the country and that aspect of it. So I like it. I'm glad that you don't have to go into this game banged up. Michael Brown, Kobe Rogers being full participants at practice is huge for us. That means they should probably be playing in this game. I think the fact that you get them back on a road trip where you're going to need your guard depth is huge. So I like it. I enjoy it that we get this now rather than in the middle of the season when you're trying to string wins together and you have to travel across the country. Now, the fact that it's coming off of 10 days of no play worries me just in the sense of how that first 5 to 10 minutes is going to look, but I'm sure they'll get whipped into shape pretty quickly.
You know, this California team, there's no like secret as to why they're succeeding. I think Mark Madsen did a great job of building this team. He basically went with ACC transfers. And how else to know that you can get a proven product on the court than going out and getting players from the actual place that you, or the conference that you're playing in. Sorry. Day Ames, averaging 18 a game, played last year at Virginia, so he knows this conference. You've got John Camden, who, he spent last year at Delaware, but he spent 2 seasons before that at Virginia Tech. You've got Justin Pippen, Scottie Pippen's son, played at Michigan last year, so Power 5 experience. Chris Bell, Louisville wide receiver, transferred to California, playing basketball for them now. No, this is that Chris Bell that played for Syracuse that Louisville played last year. And they're just going up against guys that have played this level of basketball. It's not going to be easy. Cal is a very inconsistent rebounding team. That's where I think Louisville could succeed in this game. But they also shoot the ball really well. 39% from three. And we know that the Cardinals, I think, struggle to defend the perimeter. I don't know. This game, I feel like if you're not on your game, like, it's the same thing with Tennessee to an extent, right? Until we see Louisville able to control a game when they aren't shooting the ball well from three, there's always going to be some questions about it. Can the Cardinals win a game against a respectable opponent when their shots are not falling from three? $1 million question, right?
Yeah.
Michael and Kobe Rogers apparently were full participants at practice, according to Will McDermott, from on three, so that's good. You like having Michael back. You like having Kobe Rogers back, your 2 top creators. So I think it's great. I think this is a great test. We know that the Cardinals need to dominate the ACC to get good seeding, and this is one of those games. It's to be determined because Quad 1, right now this is solely in the Quad 1 category. Don't know how good California is going to be. Vegas doesn't seem to be sold on them just yet, hence the 7.5-point spread while you're playing at home, which is basically a double-digit spread. So, call it how you see it. Rome, I'll send it to you first. Give me a score prediction and who the top scorer is going to be for Louisville.
I think this one's going to be a pretty back-and-forth, up-paced, up-tempo game. I question both teams' ability to kind of defend the perimeter well against guards who can make it happen, and that's what we're going up against, right? Day, I predict he's going to have a big game against us just because of his ability to get downhill, get to the free throw line, and knock down big, tough shots. So, I think we're going to get the victory here, but I think it's genuinely right in the line of where they think this game's at, right about 7 points. I think it's like an 80. Not even 7 points if I'm being honest. I think it's like an 89-84 kind of a victory.
Okay. Matt?
I'm around that same number. I'm going to go we win 85-79. I think that Isaac McNeely is going to be our biggest player in this game. I know he's struggled in the past couple of weeks, but he does thrive under teams like this that do struggle to guard the three-point line, especially when you have so many options like Mike Hill and Ryan Conwell who can also shoot the lights out. He tends to kind of lull the other teams to sleep and find open shots, and we always find him when he's open. I think this is the perfect game to get Isaac McNeely back into it and back into his swing, so that's what I'm going to go with.
What was the score?
It's 85-79.
85-79. So you are kind of right there on that spread, right? It's like 7.5. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go Louisville 87, California 80. I think it's going to be like one of those last shots that ruins the spread. Top scorer in this game, because of the rebound. I'm gonna have a hot take here, guys.
Ali Khalifa.
Okay, not that hot. Give me Iguodala. I'm gonna go Sananda Farouk.
Okay.
I've never predicted Sananda Farouk to be the top scorer. I think this is because you saw it against Montana. There was an emphasis on getting him the basketball. And although California's got some size on the interior, their rebounding has been an issue. The consistency or lack thereof has been an issue for them rebounding. So I think you're going to see some garbage put back, like just cleaning up the garbage on the rim and putting it back up and scoring. So I'm going to go Sananda Farouk here in a weird way. I think he's going to be the leading scorer, but I do think the Cardinals get it done here.
I love the optimism, fellow, and you're all's player of the game predictions there, but it's going to be Ryan Conwell.
That's who I wanted to go with, but I didn't want to be like
this Cal team can't stop guards from getting downhill and getting to the free throw line. Ryan Conwell might
too many easy alley-oops.
Might shoot 8 free throws in this game.
The only thing about Sananda Farouk being the leading scorer is that means that Mike Hill, Isaac, and Ryan Conwell probably having really bad nights. So that kind of makes me nervous.
No, everybody's in double digits. It's just Sananda Farouk
dropped 26.
Sananda Farouk legacy game.
22 tonight.
Sananda Farouk legacy game incoming. No, I went with something like a hot take because I didn't want to be like, I literally predicted Ryan Conwell to be like the top scorer like every game.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to be different. If I'm wrong, dude, I'm wrong. If you win, who cares?
I typically take the stance that you're in right now. Right now, Dalton, with the Sonny Fruit take, which trying to find a reason that actually could happen out there where somebody's going to have a bigger game. Because
what are you laughing at?
I think that
Cal's going to the way he said it.
Yes. I think Cal's going to struggle to defend Sananda well. But with that being said, go look at they're blowing teams out, and the opposing team's guard still got off 16 points and went to the free throw line 5 or 6 times. So they just struggle with the quick pace, twitchy guards. Ryan Conwell has the ability to change speeds. He's getting to the cup. He's getting to the line. He's going to have 20 points.
It's going to be a quad 1 victory.
Oh, my gosh. This man's on quad 8 over here.
Dude, I haven't had a haircut in 6 weeks.
Can you tell, Roman?
No. It looks like he got a haircut maybe 2 weeks ago. Maybe looks like
you literally think it's like my head is shaved.
You look like 10 days ago you got
no shot. That's just hyperbolic.
I got my haircut
now you're tweaking.
The day we came in here, right before the show. Mine is already probably twice as long as it is.
This is 6 weeks.
I'm at like 10 days right now.
Yeah, that's probably like 5 to 10 days for me.
I was unfortunately out of town when I was supposed to get my hair cut, and I don't get a cut again until January 6th. This is 6 weeks, so hopefully quad one haircut for a quad one win.
Hey, start tapping in with me. I'll cut your hair.
I don't think I trust that.
The Rams just announced that Devontae Adams isn't playing
barber
today.
too.
You guys have money on him. That sucks.
Wait, who?
Devontae Adams isn't playing tonight.
Oh yeah, I knew that.
You're asking if the betting shark knew about that? Dude gets insider trading tips.
This was 39 seconds ago.
Okay.
You don't get insider trading tips?
Now I wouldn't call
okay,
him
the hesitation.
I wouldn't call him insider. I get a few tips.
Insider? I barely know her.
Sir, this is a Wendy's?
You got a bidet?
Not yet.
I wanted one for Christmas. Didn't get one, though.
Maybe that's what we do. Next year, we all get each other different bidets for Christmas.
I did switch up my in-home studio a little bit. I painted the wall for my backdrop.
Oh, yeah?
So
Red?
No. It's like a...
No.
Paint the wall red. I know. Strangely
really?
enough, I didn't know, bro.
Just lied for no reason. I just felt like lying. Oh, that's funny.
I didn't paint it red.
But I thought he said, "Did you really?" And then you said no. So I misheard what he said. That was my fault. I was laughing. I misheard what he said.
I painted it red, and I was like,
no, I made that up. Needed something to bring up
he
here.
just lied on the radio for no reason.
No, I think I'm in the process of sprucing up the backdrop a little bit.
I did the same thing
for Locked On Louisville. Portal season's coming up. I've got to spruce it up. I've been in the virtual studio with the green screen too long.
You have been.
What?
I want to see the shelf back there. I want to see some memorabilia.
Now, okay, I didn't mean it was really that long. Now you're making me self-conscious.
It looks like crap.
Can we get a soccer jersey on the wall or something?
Miss. Rome, give me some Big X, Big Bets. We've got a little bit of time to kill.
I'm on Kyron Williams tonight. I like the 65.5 rushing yards, and I like the touchdown.
You're on what?
I'm betting the Kyron Williams player props tonight, in which we will be taking his rushing yards and his anytime touchdown prop.
Rephrase.
Sorry about that.
Pause.
Another sports wagering player prop that I am enticed by tonight is Kyle Pitts. His receiving yards.
God, I love to hear that because I have both of them on my fantasy team. I'm in the championship.
I'm in the championship. I've got Kyron Williams. I don't have Pitts, but
respectfully, I hope you both lose.
Why?
Because first of all, Rome, you were just disrespectful about my green screen backdrop, and Matt's over here thinking that my hair doesn't grow. So respectfully, no, disrespectfully, I hope a point gets proven.
Well, look,
at least your backdrop will look better.
I need a miracle. I'm down 20, and they still have Matthew Stafford to play.
You're down 20, and you have.
Because CeeDee Lamb didn't do anything for me. Jalen Waddle got hurt in the middle of the game.
CeeDee Lamb just doing cardio.
I'm up 9 points. I've got Kyron Williams. He's got the kicker.
Okay,
Mevis.
so you're good.
He's got Harrison Mevis tonight.
Who?
Harrison Mevis.
Who? Kyron Williams is going to get in the end zone either one time.
Matt, you're down 20, and he has Stafford. You have who?
I have Kyron Williams and Kyle Pitts left.
Oh, GG's, you're cooked.
Oh, I'm cooked. It's over.
You're not cooked.
Unless Kyle Pitts goes off for one of his 40-point burgers.
Yeah.
But then you need.
I think Drake London's not playing.
Then you need Kyron Williams to not get his stuff stolen by Blake Corum on the goal line, because this man Stafford loves to throw those 1-yard touchdown passes.
He does.
Which upset me because last year I had Kyron Williams as well, and he was the leading touchdown rusher for the NFL because every time
that was all they did.
They loved to get on the 1-yard line and then run in with Kyron Williams.
Now they play action 3 tries on the goal line for him. They don't run it once.
He had the weirdest stat line
Corum's
ever.
in the game, then they give him 2 tries.
If you looked at the game logs, it was like 45 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. And it was like he literally just gets it on the 1 every time. They did it on purpose. They're basically the Eagles, but they play ethical hoops.
Last question I'll ask you guys. Another Call It How You See It Part 2. Last year with the Call Your Law Firm, or last episode of the year with the Call Your Law Firm. Call It How You See It Part 2. Who is Louisville's QB1 next year? Before the portal opens on Friday, give me your prediction. Who is Louisville's QB1 next year?
Going with Hoover at a TCU.
Okay.
I'm going to say Dylan Raiola.
I'm going to go Raiola too. I think IU's going to land Hoover, man. It's a hard sell. It's like, okay, number 1 team in the country. You just saw the quarterback transfer in and win the Heisman. You have a coach who walks around Bloomington yelling, "Google me, I'll win." I think it's going to be Raiola. Who do you not want to see it? Put it this way: like who, if this guy plays at Louisville as QB1, you're like, holy moly, I hate this.
Give me the list again real quick.
Colton Joseph, Dylan Raiola, DJ Lagway, Roman Kelly, Bryce Baker.
Is this Roman Kelly post-op or pre-op?
Hey,
post-op.
I was jumping today.
This man posted that I'm going to be back dunking in a couple weeks. This man ain't dunked yet.
Are you Jaden Quaintus, bro?
I can dunk.
You can dunk? I'm not buying it.
I didn't tell you what type of height of the rim. All I said was I was back dunking.
I just pull up.
And when I post a video in a month, no one's going to be able to say anything.
I just pull up to Roman's house, and he's just got the
8-foot
goal
out.
8-foot goal, and he's doing like the MJ from the free throw line, like leg spread.
But barely getting off the ground and still getting rim stuffed.
Your girlfriend's holding the crutches and the brace on the background.
Making her throw lobs to me. I've got her running routes.
Oh, man.
I don't know about it, Chief.
I'm dunking.
Bryce Baker's the only one I don't want.
I don't want to see Baker. I don't want to see. I think Corey Joseph's going to go for a ticket that I don't believe he's worth.
Did you say Corey Joseph?
Oh,
the dude who used to play for Syracuse?
Yeah.
That Corey Joseph?
Nah, I didn't mean that. What I've already forgotten his name. What's his name? The Joseph kid.
Colton?
Colton Joseph.
Colton Joseph. Corey Joseph. Was he a net? It was Brooklyn Net? Who did Corey Joseph?
Corey Joseph? He was on that team. Wasn't he on that team that Louisville beat in Freedom Hall? Like the final year of it? Or was he like right before? No, Corey Joseph was in that draft class
on the Pistons.
Wasn't he?
He's on the Pistons.
Was it Corey Joseph?
I only know Corey Joseph as an San Antonio Spur. I guess he was a Pacer.
He was a Pacer last year.
I remember
he was
hearing his
on
name.
the Magic. He averaged 3.5
When did he
points.
play for Syracuse?
He played for Texas.
Who am I thinking of?
I have no idea.
You're thinking of God, I know who you're thinking of.
Who am I thinking of, bro?
Gosh, he played in 2010-11.
Yeah, no, I knew he played back then, but it's like, didn't he play?
You're thinking of
Chris Joseph.
Yeah.
That's it. He was the 6th man of the year in the Big East. Chris Joseph. Okay.
Let's bring that guy in.
Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, you can just recruit NBA players at this point.
And that's funny that Corey Joseph's his cousin.
You can do a
Is it really?
Yeah.
You can do a Locked On podcast in front of your red wall with him.
Chris Joseph got drafted, but he never.
We're gonna end things. That's gonna wrap up 2025 for Mondays with Dalton Pence. Thanks for sitting in all year long with Rome, Matt, and myself. We're gonna be back starting 2026 on a hot note. Portal's gonna be in full swing. Basketball and ACC play. You're tuned into Big X Sports Radio. See you next year.
The Big X, AM 1450 and 96.1 FM, WXVW Jeffersonville.